Good evening and welcome to Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress. I'm Buffy. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Happy to have you. For those of you that don't know me, I am a women's lifestyle creator on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, covering topics that concern women such as relationships, marriage, child rearing, as well as fitness and nutrition, health and wellness, mental health, self-empowerment, self-improvement, biohacking, cycle syncing, functional fitness, as well as coping strategies, grief, the whole gambit of things that interest women. Today we're going to be talking about grief is not what you think, why loss disrupts your mind and body. No one warned me that grief would affect my memory, my focus, my body, or my ability to function in public, not just my emotions. Grief isn't sadness, it's disorientation. What grief actually is. Grief as loss of orientation, not just loss of a person. Why grief feels strange and unpredictable is because it is so all-encompassing. It affects the things that you would not expect it to affect. And the lingering effect, there is no timeline. There is no formula for when you're going to be done grieving. And that can be really difficult for some people to swallow. Why people say, I don't feel like myself. Because you're actually not the same person you were before you experienced the grief. The loss of the person, especially if the loss was profound and was a person who you were very close to, can feel absolutely devastating and like you will never be who you were before. And in some ways that can be true. Grief is a full system experience. Why grief affects memory, focus, and organization. Stress hormones and cognitive load cause this. Why forgetting keys, words, and tasks is common. Because you're so enmeshed in the grief and the despair and just the hurt and the ache, you may experience somatic symptoms, such as digestive issues, headaches, trouble falling asleep, just the level of stress, fight or flight. And high-functioning people tend to notice this more just because they are oftentimes more aware of the symptoms that they're going through. And so they can almost pinpoint what emotions they're feeling. And their somatic symptoms, which are your body symptoms. Some people tend to get bathroom digestive issues, headaches, the whole gambit. This is not regression, it's neurological overload. And let's talk about public grief versus private expectations. Breakdowns often happen in public because we're busy trying to pretend as if nothing happened. And ultimately, something did happen. Your body knows something happened. And whether or not you want to pretend that, it's business as usual, you can try to do that if you want. But ultimately, you're going to have to settle down and live with some of the feelings. I had someone tell me that and I was like, that is extremely difficult. Yes, it's difficult, but if you don't do it, you're going to keep putting it off, and it's going to hit you one day and you're going to have to deal with it then. So ultimately, if that involves listening to a sad song or watching a sad movie or whatever you have to do to just get yourself kind of going through it so that you can get on the other side of it. There's no way out, right? We just have to go through it. And why the body releases emotions when it senses safety. Because ultimately, that's what our body does. And holding it all together has a cost. It's going to smack us in the face sooner or later at one point if we keep pushing feelings down when we need to experience them, let them have their time, and then be done. Public grief isn't loss of control, it's delayed permission. The physical side effects no one talks about: fatigue, nausea, tension, headaches, sleep disruption, emotional waves with no obvious trigger. I actually broke down after my loss of someone really important to me because I realized that she had passed away in the summer and we were getting ready to end summer and we were moving into fall, and that she had no place in the fall because she was no longer with us. And so she would not have a fall. And then, Thanksgiving comes around and then Christmas comes around and you start thinking about those things too, which can cause like a punch in the stomach. The body grieves before the mind can explain it. Let's talk about practical ways you can support yourself. Actionable strategies, which we're big on at Recovering Perfectionist Mama. Reduce your expectations temporarily. I feel like I'm just finally coming out of the fog that I have been in for about the last 6 months because she died in June. Externalize memory, lists, reminders, grace. Build buffer time into your day just to be able to have some time to just breathe. Normalize rest without guilt, and name grief out loud instead of fighting it, because the more you fight it, the harder it's going to be. In closing, if grief feels like it's undoing you, it may actually be reorganizing you, and that process takes time. Listen gently, lower the bar, and let your system grieve at its own pace. Thank you for tuning in, and there will be a part 2 to this, so stay tuned for that. I probably will record this right after we're done here. And thank you for tuning in, and I hope you'll join us again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.